Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. Do you guys remember this comet? Because it blew up again. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And there's actually some pretty interesting details about this. And a new thing about President Nelson and these like different like time frames and things that are kind of like merging or overlapping or coming together next year in 2024. It's like it never ends. I think next year is going to be a special year. I'll show you why. I'll show you the latest thing why. So before we get into this comet and then President Nelson, let me give you the update on the Flood the Earth Challenge. We're at 7,281 copies of the Book of Mormon that have been shared. And 2 new people have joined the challenge, which brings us to 771. And then we have 2 more people that have been reported as meeting with the missionaries. So now we're at 98 total since the beginning of this challenge. So just 2 away from 100, which is pretty amazing. For this month, we're a little low when it comes to sharing the Book of Mormon, but I guess that's mostly my fault because I haven't been showing the Flood the Earth Challenge very much this month, or I feel like I've let too much time go by. I have to like people are like, why do you show this or some people complain that I show this every video or try to. And the reason why is because I guess it motivates people, because I've noticed that the more that I show this, the more people respond to the challenge. So that's the reason why, because YouTube can be more than just entertainment and fun stuff. It can actually get things done. And in this case, things are getting done. So this is where we're at. Keep it up. Consider joining the challenge if you haven't already. All you have to do is share the Book of Mormon, either the Book of Mormon app, through the Gospel Library app, or just give them a hard copy and then let me know in the comments or send me an email and include #flood, because when I search, it helps me find your comment or your email. Okay, so back to this comet. We've talked about this comet before. I got an email from Lynn Bow where they shared this they shared this article that they found, and in the body of the email, Lynn says, explodes and brightens 100 times. Now, I wasn't sure if that's something that we had already covered, because I'm already aware of this comet. I actually have a spreadsheet I'm about to show you where we're tracking comets and meteors and asteroids and things like that. But there is news with this comet. Now, why are we interested in comets? Well, I'll show you. We're going to read what Joseph Smith said about the sign of the Son of Man in comets. And by the way, this is kind of interesting. I'm recording this on Saturday night, and I just completed a live stream while I was in the parking lot of Walmart. And so when Jenica got back from shopping, we started heading home, and we saw in the air what looked like kind of like a contrail. It was like dim, the sun was going down, it was dark, but it was moving. It was moving in our direction. And it turns out, I'm pretty sure, this is a video I took. I'm pretty sure this is the Starlink satellite train. So I just want to share that with you. It's kind of cool. For those of you that participated in the live stream, this happened right after that. So it's kind of a neat thing. But anyway, let's go to Joseph Smith. We're going to go to the Joseph Smith papers. And let's see, this is on page 7. Okay. So this is Discourse on the 6th of April, 1843, as reported by James Burgess. I think that's how his name is pronounced, Burgess. Okay. So this is Joseph Smith talking. Or this is what he did. He read Matthew chapter 24 and all the prophets. He says, or wait, no, maybe, how does this go? Okay, he's telling us to read. Read chapter 24 of Matthew and all the prophets. He says, then shall they see the sign of the coming of the Son of Man in the clouds of heaven. How are we to see it? Answer, as the lighting up of the morning, or the dawning of the morning, cometh from the east and shineth unto the west. So also is the coming of the Son of Man. And he's referring to the sign of the Son of Man. It talks about it in Matthew 24. Continuing. The dawning of the morning makes its appearance in the east and moves along gradually. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay, let's go on to the next page. It will be small at its first appearance and gradually becomes larger until every eye shall see it. Shall the saints understand it? Oh yes, Paul says so. Shall the wicked understand? Oh no, they attribute it to some natural cause. They will probably suppose it to be two great comets coming in contact with each other. It will be small at first and will grow larger and larger until it will be all in a blaze, so that every eye shall see it. Okay, so we have this where he says they're probably going to think that it's a comet. There are other accounts of this sermon where he also mentions they may think that it's a planet or a comet. Okay, so despite the fact that astronomy is able to, view this through telescopes and measure it, and it looks like other comets and whatever, who knows what it actually is? Okay, and maybe there's more to comets than what we understand. As far as science goes, it's like, oh no, it's just a comet. It looks like every other comet. But maybe, just maybe, there's more going on than what we can see with our natural eyes. So I don't know, but I'm paying attention to comets, especially if they believe that it's headed toward Earth or going to make a close enough approach to Earth to where we can see it with the naked eye. And so that's why we're tracking this comet. Okay, so first, let's look at what it says in this article and get the news, and then we'll look at the spreadsheet where we've been tracking comets, asteroids, and meteors. And there's already been some stuff that's happened with this very comet. Okay, this is on space.com. I'm going with this article. Volcanic Devil Comet, quote unquote. We've also heard it called the Millennium Falcon comet because it has like this, this shape right here. So it looks like the Millennium Falcon, or you can say it looks like it has horns. Who cares? Volcanic Devil Comet erupts with its biggest blast yet as it races toward Earth. And that's the news. The biggest blast yet. Okay, we're going to read some more details about that. An icy volcanic comet, nicknamed the Devil Comet, erupted for the fourth time Tuesday, November 14th, as it races toward Earth. I went ahead and put this on my Second Coming timeline as a sign in the heavens. It's my most recent entry, the 14th of November. And I'm not aware of any significant thing that happened on that day. It was 2 days after President Ballard passed away. But anyway, I have this here. Okay, let's go back. The comet, officially called 12P Pons Brooks, violently blasted out ice and gas and created a glowing halo that resembles devil horns. This is the largest outburst yet for the Devil Comet, which is at 18 miles or 29 kilometers wide, is roughly 3 times the size of Mount Everest. Amateur astronomer Elliot Herman spotted the major cryogenic outburst just hours after it began. The retired biology professor has been monitoring the Devil Comet, first observed in 1812. So this is interesting. So it's not like it's a brand new comet that we didn't know about. It's not an interstellar rogue comet, which we have had one of those. So this has already been around. 1812. That's when it was first discovered. Almost every night from his location in Arizona, Herman saw the comet undergo a 100-fold increase in brightness, according to space weather. Here it is again. As comets move toward the sun, radiation from our star heats, this is a typo, radiation from our star heats material within them, causing solid ice to transform directly into gas, right? Because we all know how water works. There's ice when it's solid, and then after that, when it warms up, it goes to a liquid, and then into a gas when it becomes steam or when it evaporates. Okay, but in this case, the heat makes it go it makes it skip that middle step. It goes directly from solid to gas, and it skips the liquid phase. This process, called sublimation, blasts from the comet's surface and blows away solid material. Sublimation is more explosive and dramatic for the Devil Comet than most other icy bodies. Okay, so this comet kind of stands apart when it comes to these eruptions. The cryovolcanic nature of 12P Pons Brooks allows the interior of the comet to be superheated, letting pressure build up until it explosively cracks the comet's outer shell and sprays matter into space. The sudden, powerful outbursts have caused a halo-like tenuous atmosphere to form around the Devil Comet, which makes it reflect more sunlight, thus meaning the comet brightens as it approaches the sun. The Devil Comet was observed erupting for the first time in 69 years. Now that's interesting. The first time in 69 years. On July 20th, 2023. The anniversary of Apollo 11's historic first human moon landing in 1969 too. The comet's comma swelled out to 7,000 times the width of the comet's nucleus. The Devil Comet erupted again on October 5th, with a third blast happening fittingly on October 31st, Halloween. All right, so you get that? So for the first time in 69 years, it erupted on July 20th, and then it erupted on October 5th, and then it erupted on Halloween, October 31st. And now it just erupted again on the 14th of November, just a few days ago. It takes the Devil Comet 71 years to complete an egg-shaped or elliptical orbit of the sun. The orbit causes the comet to swing far away from the heart of our solar system, thus meaning it spends the majority of its time lurking at the outer edges of our neighborhood. Thus, each time 12P moves through the inner solar system, the comet offers astronomers a unique, practically once-in-a-lifetime chance to observe its brightening and devilish visage. Okay, so some interesting things here. This is the fourth time that it's erupted. It hasn't erupted in 69 years, and it's happening right now in this really weird year. Is this the sign of the Son of Man? I don't know. Is it simply a sign in the heavens, that this thing is coming back to life? I don't know. But let's take note of it, because there's another really interesting to take note of with this comet. Okay, so here is my tracker where I'm tracking what seem to be significant comets and asteroids and meteors. You can't track them all. There's lots of them. There's lots and lots. But the ones that do something weird, or they have some unique characteristic, or they're going to be visible to the naked eye, that's what I'm trying to track. Okay. So here's my first entry on row 22, and that was on July 20th of this year. And with that first eruption, look right here in column G, first eruption abruptly brightens 100-fold. First eruption since 1954. So the first time that it erupted, it brightened 100-fold. And then it just did that again. And according to the article, this most recent one was the largest eruption of this series of 4. I don't know if that means anything, but that's obviously more, it's like more violent than the previous 3, it would seem. In column H, you can see this is they're thinking that when it comes close to Earth, it's going to be visible to the naked eye. So I'm tracking that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm tracking this comet. All right, so July 20th, and then let's come up here. We have the October 5th eruption, which was the second eruption. And then on Halloween was the third eruption. And now we have this new entry on the 14th of November, fourth eruption, biggest blast yet and it also brightens 100-fold. Okay, so that's what's happened. Now what's going to happen in the future? This is where it gets even more interesting. So, on April 8th of 2024, according to this article that I have here in the reference, astronomy.com, it is potentially going to be visible to the naked eye. You may need binoculars if you're in the path of totality during the 2024 eclipse. This is the day of the eclipse. This eclipse right here. We've talked a lot about these eclipses. The first one was in 2017 that went over Independence, Missouri, in Adamont-Diomen, in Far West. All three very, very significant church sites. And then we had the one that was on October that went over Utah, and it missed all the temples, except for one, the Monticello, Utah temple. And now this one in 2024, which is going to go over the Sacred Grove, where God the Father and Jesus Christ appeared. And it's also going to go over Kirtland, Ohio, the site of the first temple of this dispensation, and also a place where Jesus Christ appeared. So during this eclipse, if you're in this yellow area here, the path of totality, you may be able to see this comet with the naked eye, or you may possibly need binoculars or something stronger. So this is another very interesting interesting characteristic of this comet is the timing and how you may be able to see it during the eclipse. That's fascinating. By the way, President Nelson, let's shift over to President Nelson, because what would he have to do with this, the eclipse? And well, somebody pointed out something interesting in the comments. This is from Becca _ or handle Becca _ 2825. And she says, President Nelson, 40 years as apostle on April 7th. Coincidentally, April 7th, 2024 is Sunday conference, a day before the eclipse. Okay, so let's look at the calendar. Here's April 2024. Here is, so Saturday General Conference is on the 6th. Which already by itself is interesting. We all know that April 6th, that's the birthday of the Savior. That's the true Christmas. And then the next day is the 7th, and it's the Sunday sessions. And this is the day that he reaches the 40-year mark of being an apostle. And then the next day is the eclipse, where if you're in the path of totality, you should be able to see Pons Brooks, the comet that we're talking about. So this is yet another thing that lines up in this like collection of data points that we've been tracking. So remember, 2018 was his first year as president of the church. Now, people are getting confused. I'm going to explain this very clearly. When you are born, okay, you're born, you're not yet to your first birthday. That is your first year of life. If someone was to ask you, what was your first year? What was your first year like? Well, it was the time from when you were newborn until you turn 1 year old. That is your first year. That's why we call this the 21st century, because the first century was from the year 1 AD until the year 100 AD. So before 100 AD, you are in the first century. That's why we're in the 20s or the 2020s, but we are in the 21st century. The same concept applies to President Nelson in his first year as president of the church, which went from January 14th of 2018. So if you were to go back in time and the very next day on the 15th, and you asked him, President Nelson, what is this your first year as president of the church? he would say yes. He would not say, no, this is my 0th year or my 0th year. He would say, this is my first year as president of the church. Okay? Does this make sense? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Okay? So 2018 was his first year as president of the church. 2019 was his second. Look at this screen if you need to. If you need to look at it, look at the screen. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th. So starting on January 14th of 2024, that's the day that he begins his 7th year as president of the church. Likewise, his age. Okay. He is currently in his 100th year of life. And that's going to go until September 9th of next year. And sorry, someone corrected me. I had been saying September 8th. It's September 9th because 9/9. Okay. So he is currently in his 100th year of life until September 9th of next year. He has given 40 talks as of right now, if you take away the Hosanna Shout instructions. And as an apostle, I need to move this over here. As an apostle, he will enter his 40th year on April 7th of 2024, which is Sunday during General Conference. Okay? So of all days for that to happen, it's Sunday General Conference, the day before the eclipse. That is really weird. And then on top of that, we've been tracking all the natural disasters that have increased since 2004. Wildfires, earthquakes, not necessarily increase in earthquakes, but deadly earthquakes, yes, or death toll, yes. Hurricanes, and then volcanoes. I recently went over volcanoes. All 4 of those disaster or those natural phenomena, they all increased or began to affect human life more starting in 2004 or the year after, in the case of the hurricanes. Everything else was 2020 or was 2004. All these things are happening at the same time. Don't know that that means anything, but there is a lot of completion type stuff here. 7, the completion of 7. 100, that's another number of completion. Maybe not in like a spiritual sense, but when we think about percentages, we think of 100 because percentages are based on 100, right? 40 and 40, the time of cleansing, the time of launching into a new phase. And then 20, also kind of one of those numbers. So that's what's going on. This is the new bit of information. Credit goes to Becca _. And I think that's pretty amazing. So this will happen. And then the next day, you'll be able to see Pons Brooks. Possibly with the naked eye, you may need binoculars if you're in the path of totality of the eclipse. All right, going back to this. So after that, later that month on the 21st, so going from the 8th, the day of the eclipse, to the 21st is going to be the day that it's the closest to the sun, the perihelion. And then a few months later, on June 24th, it will make its closest approach to Earth. And that's all that I have for 12P Pons Brooks. So this is an interesting comet. It's interesting because of its timing. It's interesting because of its eruptions and how active it is, and that it's coming to life this year, and that it's going to make a special appearance next year when these other interesting things are happening. By the way, if you were curious about the other quotes that I have about the sign of the Son of Man, I have them on my quotes A through Z spreadsheet. The link for this is in the description box of every video. You can come here and you can access all these quotes, because I only read one of 4 that I currently have. All right, that's going to be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.